Last year, Amazon moved $716.9 billion of goods and services. Books, groceries, gadgets, cloud servers, everything. It is one of the largest sales machines ever built. And the part everyone pictures, the store, the boxes on your doorstep, barely made money. On roughly $588 billion of selling, Amazon kept an operating margin of under 6 cents on the dollar. So if the store isn't the money maker, what is? The answer is a business most people have never knowingly used, and it quietly earns most of Amazon's profit. Here's the story we all carry around. Amazon is the everything store. It sells you things, takes a cut, and multiplied across a few hundred million customers, that cut becomes a fortune. It's the picture the name paints, the logo paints, the cardboard box on your doorstep paints. It's a clean story. It's also mostly wrong. Retail is one of the most brutal, low-margin businesses in the world. Walmart, Costco, Target, Amazon, they all run the store on razor-thin markups, single-digit pennies of profit on every dollar, because the moment you charge more, the customer clicks somewhere cheaper. Selling stuff at massive scale is how Amazon got big. It is not how Amazon got rich. To see how it actually got rich, you have to stop looking at the front of the store and look at the machinery humming out back. Start with where the money comes in. Of that $716.9 billion in revenue, the store and its cousins, online orders, third-party sellers, Prime subscriptions, advertising, make up the overwhelming majority. Online stores alone were $269 billion. Third-party sellers, another $172 billion. Then there's a smaller line tucked at the bottom called Amazon Web Services, AWS. Its revenue last year was $128.7 billion. A serious number on its own, but next to the store, it's a slice. Only about 18% of the company, not even a fifth of the money coming in. So by revenue, Amazon looks exactly like what you'd guess, a giant store with a cloud-side business bolted on. If you stopped reading the financial statements right here, you'd walk away with the everything store story fully intact. But revenue only tells you how much money moves through a company. It tells you nothing about how much the company gets to keep. Now watch what happens when we stop counting sales and start counting profit. Amazon's total operating profit for the year was $80 billion. That's the money left after the cost of everything, the warehouses, the trucks, the servers, the wages. Of that $80 billion, AWS, the 18% side business, produced $45.6 billion. The entire rest of Amazon, North America and international retail combined, every store, every seller, every Prime membership, produced just $34.3 billion. The cloud that no shopper ever touches earns more profit than the store the whole company is named after. Put the two numbers side by side and you get the whole company in one line. AWS is about 18% of Amazon's revenue and about 57% of its operating profit. A minority of the sales, the majority of the money. Look at the margins and the gap gets even starker. AWS runs at roughly a 35% operating margin, 35 cents of profit on every dollar. The rest of Amazon runs at about 6%. AWS is nearly 6 times as profitable per dollar as the store. This is the trick of the costume. Amazon reports one giant revenue number and $716.9 billion, and our brains quietly assume the profit is smeared evenly across it. It isn't. The profit is concentrated, stacked up inside the one business a shopper can't see. The store generates the traffic, the cloud generates the money. So what is AWS? In plain terms, Amazon rents out computers. Not the laptop kind, the enormous warehouses full of servers, storage and software that other companies pay to use by the hour instead of buying and running their own. If you're building an app, you don't need to construct a data center anymore. You just rent a corner of Amazon's. And almost everyone does. When you stream a show, log into your bank, order a rideshare, or open half the apps on your phone, there's a good chance the request quietly runs through Amazon servers. AWS is the plumbing of the modern internet, invisible and everywhere. Amazon started renting it out back in 2006, years before Microsoft or Google took the idea seriously, and that head start turned into a lead measured in years. That's the beautiful part of the business. Retail margins are thin because customers can always click to a cheaper seller. But once a company builds its entire product on top of AWS, it can't casually leave. That stickiness is what lets AWS charge a 35% margin while the store fights for pennies. Here's the strategic twist. Amazon keeps the store's margins thin on purpose. Every extra dollar of profit it could squeeze from shoppers, it instead pours back into lower prices, faster shipping and more selection, which pulls in more customers, which attracts more sellers, which funds even lower prices. The store isn't designed to be a profit center. It's designed to be an unbeatable, self-reinforcing machine for growth, the famous flywheel. And the profit that keeps the whole thing spinning comes from somewhere the shopper never looks. It comes from AWS, and increasingly from a second quiet engine, advertising, now a $69 billion business tucked right inside those retail numbers, running at margins far closer to the cloud than to the shelf. The sponsored products you scroll past are in profit terms, doing a lot of the heavy lifting the boxes never could. And here's where the whole structure holds. Rivals can copy the store. Anyone with a warehouse and a website can undercut a price. But matching AWS means pouring tens of billions of dollars into data centers, chips, and undersea cables, then waiting a decade for a 2-decade head start to close. Almost no one can afford to try. So the thin margin store keeps growing, the high margin cloud keeps funding it, and the gap between how Amazon looks and how Amazon earns just keeps getting wider. Sit with the size of it. A single line item inside Amazon, $128.7 billion of revenue throwing off $45.6 billion of operating profit, would, spun out on its own, instantly be one of the most valuable technology companies on earth, bigger and more profitable than most of the household names you'd rank above it. It just happens to be filed under a company most people think of as a place to buy paper towels, and it's still growing. AWS profit rose from $39.8 billion the year before to $45.6 billion. The store's quiet landlord, getting quietly richer. So the next time you picture Amazon, don't picture the warehouse. Picture the data center, the boxes on your porch are the costume, the servers humming behind it are the business. Amazon isn't a store that happens to run some servers. It's a cloud company wearing a store's costume, and now you can see the shape underneath. If you want the real mechanics behind the companies you use every day, the numbers, verified, no hype, this channel is built for exactly that. Subscribe and we'll take apart another one.